the graphic here. Why Arch Manning could be the biggest thing that the hobby has ever seen. I wrote an article, a members only article at nooffseason.com. So shameless plug. If you are not a member of the Sports Card Investment Report, I highly recommend that you check that out and use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, at checkout to save 20%. But every month I do what's called a Sports Card Opportunity Report, and it looks at a bunch of things other than our traditional player-by-player breakdown. And this past report, which was just published, was about, among other things, Arch Manning. And I'm super excited about this young man. And it actually plays really well with the licensing discussion. So I should have thought of this segue myself. So thank you, Greeny Green. Arch Manning, by the time he has cards, we think now that there'll be licensed cards for whatever college that he goes to. And Kendall, let me just say this. This is kind of what I say in my article at No Offseason. So we all know the story of Peyton and Eli. We all know the story of Archie. What some of us don't know is the story of Cooper. Cooper Manning was Peyton's number one wide receiver in high school. They played together on the same team. In Cooper's senior year, which I believe would have been Peyton's junior year, maybe sophomore year, but I think junior year. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Cooper had like 74 catches for like 1,200 yards and 17 touchdowns. Then he went to Ole Miss and was going to play wide receiver there. Then he was struck with a spinal cord condition that threatened not only his ability to walk, but threatened his life. Arch Manning is now Cooper's son. So this is the grandson of Archie. This is the nephew of Peyton and Eli. And this is the son of Cooper, the only Manning brother who did not get a chance to actually play college football and professional football. This is the greatest sports story of all time, Arch Manning. This is LaMelo Ball times 1,000,000. This is Bronny James times 2,000,000. You know, give me Arch Manning. I'm with you, Greeny Green, because not only all that, but he's a quarterback. Not only is he a quarterback, but he's the number one quarterback in the 2023 recruiting class. So he's already visiting Georgia. He's already visiting major schools. It is not that far-fetched to connect the dots to say number one high school quarterback becomes number one quarterback at a major school, becomes potentially number one overall draft pick. Even if he's not the number one overall draft pick, if this kid gets drafted in the first round, we see what the hobby does over quarterbacks. So let's talk first, Kendall, about Arch Manning. Then let's talk about his licensed collegiate releases. Then let's talk about potentially what his pro releases will be. This is going to be insane. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, we've seen this yes. We've seen this.
Yes.
We've seen a legacy format in collectibles be super profitable. My immediate connection is the Bowman products that we see come out with Tatis Jr., with Vladdy Jr., with Bichette, with it goes on and on in baseball. Bobby Witt Jr. right now. It's just all of them are coming from their dads playing, right? But in football, it's been a little bit different because typically when you see guys come up, I don't know why, but I can't think of one that they play a premium position. You know, it's like if a guy comes up and his dad played somewhere, he's like a cornerback or something, or maybe a wide receiver, or, you know, like something like that. But like this will be huge. And I think like probably 5 years ago, I thought about when what's his name? I can't remember the son's name, but Jerry Jones' grandson got recruited and went to Arkansas. And I thought, like, if this guy is anything, it's going to be huge. That I think Stephen Jones was his dad. I think if he would have been anything, and you would have built on if Jerry Jones going to Arkansas, his grandson went there, or I don't know. I don't know the whole story because he wasn't that good, okay? And so it didn't really amount to anything. But Arch is completely different. Like, this kid is outstanding, and we've seen how he's being recruited by everyone. Everyone and their mom said, we would give you a full ride to come here. Obviously, some schools are just doing it because everyone else is doing it, knowing they don't have a shot at this. I think it would be super cool is if he did not go to Ole Miss and he did not go. Now, there's a lot of politically, whatever to this, and it doesn't make sense. But how cool would it be is if he goes to the Navy and he goes and plays where his grandfather played. I think he went to the Navy. But anyway, I could be wrong about Archie playing there. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that might have been Staubach, but I don't know my football history that well. Maybe Andy would have just annihilated me.
Yeah, Archie. So Archie played at Ole Miss.
Okay, all right. And so he played at Ole Miss. Eli played at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Peyton played at Tennessee. Okay, forget that. Don't play at Navy because that makes no sense. You'd have to go get recruited and go serve some time. Forget that, Arch. Don't even listen to me.
Yeah, you'd have to David Robinson yourself, which nobody wants to do.
Yeah. So I don't like Ole Miss personally. There's a lot of things that I don't like.
Let's talk about Kendall. Let's talk about the fact that his name is Arch. It's literally just 2 letters off of Archie's name. I mean, like, props to Cooper, who's just like, this kid, we're gonna name him Arch, and he's gonna be a quarterback. I mean, this is amazing. This is the greatest sports story. I watched the Book of Manning, ESPN 30 for 30 the other day, and I know that I believe Archie was a big Giants fan, and so the fact that Eli played for the Giants and Toa Hang chimed in the comments here and said the Giants are going to take for Arch, I don't think that it's actually that far-fetched to think that the Giants would have the number 1 pick the year that Arch or would be in a position to easily trade up for the number 1 pick the way that they did with Eli the year that Arch is there. I mean,
they don't have to tank. They just have to keep doing what they're doing.
That's true. They don't have to change it.
They already suck.
They just keep doing what they're doing. Yeah, exactly. So Giants, just keep doing what you're doing, and you could get Arch Manning. I mean, it's just the storyline is brilliant, and the amount of hype that's going to be around this kid in the hobby, I think, is going to far outweigh any hype that we've ever seen, which I know is a big statement. But I just think it's primed for that. So
he's going to have his own release. You're going to see like the Trevor Lawrence type whatever thing that I absolutely hate. And we've talked about that before, but we're going to have the whole Manning set. How cool would it be is if they had the Arch Manning set and you could actually, there were other cards in the set of Eli and Peyton and Archie, and what if they finally somehow found a picture of Cooper and made a Cooper Manning card?
Yes. This is why you and I do the show together, because I did a members only video for the subscribers of the Sports Card Investment Report, and I literally said that exact same thing that you just said. I said there will be a curated set and for Arch, and there will be cards in there with all of them on the same card that are signed and serial numbered, and it's gonna be a big
think about the value of that
release.
Card. Think about the value of an RPA with all five of their logos on it.
All five of them. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that don't want Cooper on that card, which I could understand. But I mean, I think Cooper deserves to be on that card just for the sheer fact that, he would have been a great college player, maybe a pro. He fought for his life, and then he came back and he had a stud son named Arch that's going to be potentially the number one overall pick in the NFL draft someday. So give me Cooper on that card. Give me all five of them. That's what I say.
Yeah. I don't like sets, but like curated sets specifically for people, but I think that one might change my mind.
Yep. We have a phenomenal amount of interaction on today's show. I am loving this. Thank you to everybody. And we're going to hit a couple more topics before we sign off. So Next up, I just want to give Kendall an opportunity to talk about what he does best and or tied for best with soccer. Let's talk, since we're still in the middle of baseball season,